Let's turn one of these into one of these. And we're gonna do it using all of this stuff. So stick around and see if we can make one of Bioshock's most iconic props in the cosplay world. So I got a lot of extra stuff here. We're probably not going to need to use everything. I couldn't decide what size jar was. I think this might be the ideal size, but there was this size, and we'll see how they kind of fit and look on here as you start to put this together and kind of get an idea of what's going to be the proper size. Got some fittings. We're going to try to make this light up. I've got LEDs here, lots of different LEDs that I bought. This is great. This is car soap, you know, like for washing your car. And you see how it's kind of got, well, it's kind of hard to tell, but it's really thick and red. So what's going to be great about that is it's going to look like that serum that's in the syringe in the game instead of just being something that's really watered down. Then we've got some other pieces here to kind of help put this together, and we're going to try to use batteries to light up the LEDs and maybe try to store them inside the back of this, which is going to fit back here. Real quick, I want to explain what I've got here. This is an old style gas pump handle, and this is kind of what everybody else has been using that recreates the same prop. This is an EBW, and I think this is the most popular one to use. It's nothing fancy. We're not gonna really use any of the parts inside so much as we just need the shape of this to make it look like the syringe in the game. Now as we start to take a look at this thing, this piece off the back here, I'd already loosened this up so that we can take this off by hand. We don't need this part at all back here. Some of you may or may not have that piece. You may just get this thing just like that if you want to recreate this. This we really can't use for a couple reasons. One, getting this hose off of here is going to be difficult, and then I need a cap for the back. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to recreate this thing with essentially these pieces here. So I need to cut the threads down because they don't need to be this long, but we'll thread this into here like so, and then I need to sand this just a little bit so it fits in here, and then we're going to put this cap on the back, and again I'm going to have to cut some of this stuff down and make it fit right. And this whole thing ideally will be really close to like about that size when I'm done. And the reason why I'm doing that is this cap back here, I'm going to put a switch that I can turn off the LED, and that'll be in the back of this thing. And then all the batteries, this is what we're going to use is these this CR2032 3-volt batteries, and you could put 2 of them in one of these little cases here, and you can turn it off and on, which we won't need to do it here, but this will give me a 6-volt setup using 2 of those inside one of these. And I've got a couple of them just in case they don't work, or if I need to double it up and do 12 volts. And the reason why is some of these LEDs are 6 volts, some of them are 12 volt, and so we'll kind of figure out which one's going to work best, and I'll be able to have the voltage that I need. And then these will just kind of go together and they'll sit inside there, and we'll have the cap on and the light switch. It'll be great. So the plan is to drill into the top of this cap here, and so we'll just take this off. Alright, so we're going to take this cap, we're going to drill a hole through it, and then we'll use one of these bottles and we'll do the same thing, drill a hole in the cap of that, and that will connect those two. And then for the top, for the nipple part, we just got a bottle, and I'm thinking I can just take this top section minus the cap, but use that yellow collar and then the rubber nipple in there, and I think I can just glue this on top of here, and the diameter is close enough, it should work. So that's kind of the plan. For the bottle, I at the store I just bought a couple of different sizes, and I think this is going to be too big. The diameter is not too bad, but it's just really, really tall. And then this one, I think the diameter is too small. The height is good, but I think the size of it's too small. This baby jar, the diameter is good. It's just, again, it's too small. I think I'm going to end up using this one. So we'll take this apart, take the label off, clean this thing out, and get this ready for this section. For the needle end of it, I just bought a bag of dowels. This is a little over a foot long, which is good because I think we need about 8 to 10 inches. So we'll just take one of these out, and then I'm going to use, this will fit, this is just another PVC pumming piece, and we'll just use this to slide in there, and then we can either glue it in place or figure out a way to make it stick without gluing it. And I'll drill a hole in here, and we'll be able to glue one of these dowels inside there, and then that'll fit in there, and that'll be I want to shave that rim off, sand it down or something so that it doesn't stick out. I don't like that on there, but we can figure out something to work with that. And then just some paints, some acrylic paints that we're going to do after we spray this whole body. We'll leave this silver, but we're going to spray the body with this Rust-Oleum hammered copper color and for the base of it, and then we'll use the paints to kind of add some what do they call that? Some aging or patina that these things that has in the game. So I think the first thing I should do is start trying out these LEDs and kind of get an idea of brightness for them. I think what we can do is we can just shine them in the bottom of this bottle and get an idea of how it's going to illuminate this stuff in here, and know that it'll be similar when we put it with the final setup. So this is the one we're going to use, and we're going to focus on getting this cleaned up and getting a hole drilled in here for this to thread through, and this will shine up inside. And then we'll run the wires down through the cap of this, and then we'll put the nut on the back side of the cap, and then run the wires through the handle here, and then that's where we're going to take these pieces and make this stuff fit. So that's one of the things I need to do next, is get this prepared for all that to fit inside here, and then I can clean up the wiring at the end, but I need to start getting some holes drilled and some parts cut for this to fit together. All right, so now we got that baby food bottle cleaned up and got the hole drilled in here. So what I'm going to do, this is a 7/16 hole, and we would run the wiring through here, and then actually we can take this nut off first. Now we can run this wiring through here. Okay, so this would sit in there like so. And for now, we'll just put the nut on here, but imagine that this nut is going to be on the inside of this cap. So I'll drill a hole through here, and this part will sit on there like so, and then we'll just put this nut, we'll just thread it on down there at the bottom. So, and then we'll put the bottle on, we'll fill it full of this soap that we have. We'll put this on here. I'm going to put some silicone on the bottom of that once we get this final install. And we'll screw that on, and then that's going to be that part of it. Now the bottle, you just need this top part, and we're going to paint this yellow part, but I can glue this on there like so, and that will start to get where we need to be for this system. All right, the next step I think would be to drill a hole in the cap and then go from there. Okay, so now run the wires through here, and again a 7/16 hole in this cap piece. Now we can thread this on there. Alright, so it'll more or less sit just like that. I'll have to tighten that up when I get done with it, but that's okay. For now, we'll have to run the wires through part of the spring, because it's going to sit inside here like so. And then these wires And through there like that. Be something along those lines. I'll have to tighten all that stuff down. But then the wires, here, we'll put this on here. Again, this needs to be tightened, but we'll deal with that at the end. Okay, that'll be the bottle part. This will go on there. And then at the back is where we'll have this piece threaded in there. This piece will fit over the top of that. This will fit in the back with the switch. This switch, we'll have to drill a hole for that. That'll fit in there. We'll get these guys. Will fit inside here. Oh, we're getting closer. All right, so now it's time to modify these pieces to fit with the back end of that. So I gotta cut these threads down because I don't need this whole thing to thread in there. I just need a little bit of it. And then I need to cut those threads down and then drill a hole for this guy. All right, now that we got this part, this back part of here kind of put together, I still need to fix this in there, but this switch, there's a little tab on here, so it's gonna fit inside that little cutout. I don't want to push it in yet, because once you push it in, it's in there for good. But that'll go in the end of that. We can just get it in place, and then we can turn this whole thing off and on with the switch. And then these battery packs will fit in here. And then this piece, I had to sand this down quite a bit to get it to fit in here. So that'll fit in there like so. And then I'll just thread this in there. I did notice that I had to cut the threads to get this thing to be the right size, and I'm having a hard time threading this in there, so I'm gonna have to modify these threads a little bit more to get this to fit in, to thread in good, but we can figure that out. And then I also noticed, because the lid on this jar is kind of, see, it flexes, I'm gonna have to get something like maybe some big washers or fender washers or something to put in there to kind of stiffen up this cap, and you won't really notice them that much in the final design, but I don't want this thing moving around like that. So, and then here we go. So you can kind of get an idea of what this is going to start to look like. So the next step is to get this prepared for the end here. This is just going to plug in there like so, and we're going to put the dowels. Grab one of these. And then I'll have to glue this in here or something. I have to figure out. Actually, I got two of these. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to glue these together, and then I got to trim down this edge, and I'll glue these together. And so that when it slides in here together, they'll make a lot better, fit than just one of these. So I think the next step is to start modifying these to get ready to hold the stick. Okay. I just figured out that I haven't been recording anything that I've done here in the garage. The pieces that I've cut, everything I've done up until right now. So hopefully we can just pick it up where I was at, but what I was just doing, I just got done making this piece that goes in the end. So this will fit in here in the end like so. And then I drilled a hole in here for this to fit in, and I was about ready to kind of start to make the needle end of the syringe on the sander here, and now I know that I'm recording now. So gosh darn it, all the stuff that I had done. Oh well, okay, so picking it up, now it's the time to, I got this cut. You see how it's kind of got a little notch on here, so it goes in and it'll sit in, then I'll glue it in place, but this way it'll only go in so far. Now I want to kind of shape the end of this to a point. It doesn't need to be needle sharp, but just to a point would be sufficient. All right, so now that we got that, it's not an exact point, but it's fine for what we're doing. I don't want to make this thing lethal. Okay, so that would go in there, and I'll glue it in a little bit later. And then we'll just put this in here on the end, like so, and that's gonna be kind of where it ends up. And this, we'll get that fixed. But yeah, Okay, so now the next part, now that we've got the needle end done, we've got this end done with the pieces that we had cut. That's all ready to go. I got some washers for that part I was talking about up top up here. I think now the next step is to get this thing I'm gonna tape this off because I want to leave this color, this silver color, but tape this up and get it ready for paint. And kind of make just a makeshift paint booth out of a cardboard box, and we'll start painting all the pieces that we need to paint. So here's our makeshift paint booth. So we're just hanging this from a stick, and then I've got the nozzle taped off, and I've got the threads taped on both sides here, that piece, and then we're gonna paint, those are the 3 pieces. So we're just gonna use just that copper colored stuff, and we'll just see how it comes out. All right, so we're just gonna sneak up on it with the paint. We'll just let that last coat just dry. Some of it's a little heavy in some spots, that's okay. I'll spin this around and get the other sides and get these things painted up. This box down here is probably not the best because I can't get to the sides of these parts, but we're just gonna let that coat dry and we'll do another one and then do another one and just kind of sneak our way up on multiple coats to get this first color done. While we let these pieces dry, I put several coats of paint on them now. I was getting the battery pack all wired up. So what we're gonna do is this is gonna go into the switch. This is gonna go to one of the leads that comes off the LED, and then I've got the other end of the LED already wired up. Again, the other end of the switch, and then the wire for hooking up to the battery pack. So we gotta put those together inside the end of that. Now that we got all these parts painted, I think it came out pretty good. It's kind of bright and shiny, but that's okay because we're gonna paint some wear on it, some patina type of a look to it. Start to put this thing together, you get an idea of how this is going to look when we get done here. And then actually what the next step I want to do is I'm going to I want to double check, make sure that everything still works on the LED part. So what we've got here is, here's the switch. Put those together and turn the switch on. Aha, all right, cool. So I think we can go ahead and start to assemble this a little bit further before we do the final touch-up on it. I think I did notice that this is, I believe this is brass. So I started to clean this thing, and I thought, no, we gotta leave it all dirty because that's kind of what's gonna feed the whole look of this thing being a used component. So I think we'll just leave that brass look, the worn look already on there. Okay. One thing I did want to point out on this cap that goes right here is I sanded this down. You can see how it's got a flat spot. It had a rounded, kind of a convex edge to it. And I did that so that this washer that's on here that kept that, remember that lid was kind of flimsy, the washer will sit flat on that and hopefully keep this thing a little more secure. And I did silicone this LED to the washer and silicone that to the lid, so it should be sealed, and so there shouldn't be anything leaking out of there, and then it's also secured in place. I also added, you can see here, I added a little more wire length to this so that we can get the wires to the end of this piece and get it all the way out the end. I'm going to make sure that the wires kind of go out the back side of the spring. When we screw this down, the spring won't spin, but I want them at the bottom of this so that so they don't get pinched on anything else. Okay, so I found that if I tighten this any more, it starts to pull the wires from inside here, and they're getting all twisted up, and it's not worth damaging these wires to go any farther. So the next part is to put on this extension piece, and this is going to be the battery housing section that we're going to put in here. And then down inside here, I kind of bored out a little bit on the side so that this would fit down inside there, kind of like so, kind of tucked down. And the reason why is because when you put the switch in here, you're going to have those leads, and they obviously can't get in the way of that. The next part is pull this together so that I can put the cap on, and we'll put the switch, we'll push the switch in last, but we'll make sure we get everything else put together inside here. Alright, we're just touching those leads together. Obviously the lights still work, that's good. We put this the switch on, and we'll push it in at the end when we're done with everything, but aha, that's good news. Okay, so okay, now we can get a kind of an idea of what this thing's going to look like more closer to the end. We still got to glue that on the bottle. We'll glue this on there, and yeah, we're getting closer. Getting closer. I did notice that I was putting this together, I did kind of loosen up the silicone in here, so I'm going to have to redo that, but that's okay. Just reseal that on that end. Okay, the next step is we got to go ahead and glue this on here, and then I need to start painting this for that worn, used look, and then we'll put some red paint on the tip here for the blood and stuff. So let's get to that part. This for me is the scariest part, because this is where I am not a painter at all. I don't know how to age something like this. You watch some videos online on how they do it, and of course they just do it with the greatest of ease. It looks kind of like the best way is to leave the high points the bronze color, and the valleys and dips and stuff the dark color. You can get carried away. I started to paint kind of this area a little too dark, a little too much. And then, so what the trick is to get some black paint, mix some white with it, get to kind of a gray color, just not a black color. And then just, it doesn't take much to just kind of change the color from the bronze to a dirty bronze, almost in a way. And that would probably be the best way to do it. I wish I would have practiced this on something else first prior to just start painting, because I feel like I've added too much paint in some areas than what I should have, and so that's okay. It is what it is, and I think I just keep moving forward with it and just keep kind of trying to get better at it. And I kind of want to make sure that I don't really leave any of the bright bronze copper color out. I mean, just the slightest little going over the top of it just a little bit, just to dull it just a little. We don't want any spot to look new, but we also don't want to cover the whole thing in this black, you know, grimy patina that, that's what you get when you spend $2 on brushes. You get cheap brushes. And I think you can paint too much like I have, but you can also be too little. So trying to find that balance in getting just everything kind of coated, but just enough, just the right amount. As we use this lighter color, just kind of sparingly put it on. Again, I got a little heavy right here, and it's just starting to show. So again, this goes back to practicing on something else first. Probably would have been a better idea to do this, but we're already here, so. There, it's starting to match that. That doesn't look too bad. So with this, I mean, the blood doesn't need to go all the way up the needle, and we just drop that in there, and then we'll just put this on there for now. Oh yeah, we're getting real close. So now we want to fill this jar with this soap, and here we go. Oh yeah. You know, I was hoping it was a little darker, but really it's going to be just fine. We're going to want to fill this thing all the way up to the top to minimize the air bubble that's going to be in there. Ooh, it smells good. It smells like cherry. All right. Okay. So far so good. Here we go. Aha! All right. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that looks awesome. We gotta turn the lights off. Oh yeah, way cool. Way cool. All right. I'm gonna figure to put this guy in there, though you really can't see in there, but oh, that is fantastic. Here, let's turn the lights back on. All right, we'll put this in there. And that stays in, and that's pretty much it. We can push the switch in all the way now. Okay, now that switch is permanent. Oh man. Oh, that's awesome. Okay. Oh, that's awesome. Well, that wraps up that whole video. Thank you guys for sticking around. I think we came up with a pretty good looking replica of the Bioshock syringe, the Adam Syringe that the Little Sisters use in the game. This was a lot of fun making, and I would be happy to make another one. This thing is pretty easy, and I have a spare one. I might make another one. This was kind of fun. Now I know how to do it, and I could probably do a better job painting. But anyways, thanks for sticking around. I appreciate it. Do me a favor and like and subscribe if you like this video.